So, the other day I was watching this Netflix special. It's like a mini series that Kevin Hart has. It's called "Don't Fuck This Up," and I can say "Don't Fuck This Up" because that's actually the title. They have asterisks, but I'm a grown man, so I could say
your parents aren't gonna paddle you.
Nobody's gonna send me to my room.
Yeah.
And it goes through a bunch of Kevin Hart's recent stuff, like cheating on his wife and blah blah blah. But one specific thing that jumped out at me, and I got the boomer version of Triggered, and I'm not a boomer, but like I guess they call anybody older boomer. But it was the whole time that Kevin Hart was doing the Oscars, when he was about to host the Oscars, and they said, "You said some shit about gay people a decade ago, and so I hate you.
You're not allowed to do X, Y, and Z anymore."
Yeah, like they and the thing that really made me mad about it was the fact that my favorite comedian of Kevin Hart's era is Patrice O'Neal, rest in peace. And Patrice O'Neal would say like some of the most outlandish stuff. There was no way he was ever going to host any Oscars if he stayed alive. But the most hardworking comedian is Kevin Hart. Like, this dude works 24/7. He'll at any given time be working on 3 movies, a special in a 50,000 seat arena, and bigging up all the people around him so that they have stuff to do also. And in addition, he's also starting programs for people that are like, disadvantaged and things like that.
Charitable.
Yeah.
Charitable programs to help the disadvantaged.
And it just struck me as kind of like, it annoyed me that this vocal minority that used to be something that we like, oh, you're mad at Beavis and Butthead? Get the fuck out of here.
Before they had a platform to talk about it on.
Yeah, like,
because that's really what happened. Is there's a platform. Everyone has a soapbox in their pocket.
Yes, exactly.
And they basically, like, you can see footage from back in the day of Kevin Hart going, I just want to host the Oscars, and him working toward that. And in this miniseries, when he gets the call where he's getting offered the Oscars, he's doing a show in Australia, and he comes out to the crowd, and he's damn near crying, like, I made my goal. And over 140 characters a decade ago, not even something like, he's talking about his kid in a tongue-in-cheek way, and a thing that he said on stage and people laughed at.
Mm-hmm.
Now that goal.
Yeah, and it's in a comedy performance where everything should be kind of tongue-in-cheek anyway.
Yeah,
like
Twitter is tongue-in-cheek as a whole. There's no such thing as something that somebody said on Twitter that you're going to be like, oh, that's the thing. You're contracted to that opinion forever. It annoyed the ever-loving fuck out of me. And so I want to talk about cancel culture.
So welcome to End of a Species podcast. So, where we talk about all kinds of stuff that floats into our heads or just pisses us off in general.
You know what really grinds my gears?
Or something that we're completely happy and loving on. Like, some of our more froofy episodes about stuff we love.
Yeah.
Which those are great too. But I'm Adam. I'm a regular on this podcast. And we have our primary MC.
Yeah, I'm Jeff. I'm a little angry right now, if you can't tell. Over Skype joining us, we have Brian.
What's going on?
I would tell you what I normally call him as a nickname, but we would get canceled. So
yeah, you don't want to.
Yeah, like, I don't want to piss off.
Outrage.
Yeah, I don't want to piss off all the people out there that'll write to the Twitters. You know what I've wanted?
I would love us to be trending on Twitter for anything, even if it is negative.
You know what I really want to do?
Like, screw these people on YouTube. and they're like,
cancel EoaS trending.
For their 45 subscribers, or what, I don't even know how many we got, but still, like,
That's generous.
Yeah,
But you know,
But we love and appreciate every single one of them. And just as a thing, because I forgot to do this in one of our more recent ones, shout out to my boy Angelo, who says he's an avid listener. I appreciate him listening, and he says he loves our way of talking. So, Angelo, if you're listening to this one, because we haven't been broadcasting in a while, maybe you deleted us. I don't know.
What?
But like, we appreciate you listening.
I 100% appreciate Angelo, and as an aside to that, I'm going to get this out of the way early. GameStop, if you're listening, fuck GameStop. The fuck out my face with that shit. You know what I really want to do, though? Like, I want
as an aside, I read something in an article, because like Google recommends articles to me. GameStop's profits were down like 50% this last holiday season.
I'd like to think it's because of us. If we had anything to do with that, I can sleep tonight without any medication. If that's the case, that would make me super happy. But here's the thing. So I want to have enough of a budget where I can hire an army of private investigators to follow anybody who's been part of this vocal minority. And if they go to Starbucks and they get their order wrong and they go, "You F word,"
Yeah.
or whatever, and they have like a blow up,
Videotape it
at goddamn fucking Trader Joe's, like, you guys are out of kale, whatever the fuck it is. Tape it, post it, and get them to lose their fucking post office job. That's what I would love, because nobody really wants that. Nobody wants their worst moment when they, like, there's times where I'll go get food, and my wife will tell you, if I get home and they didn't get her honey mustard, there's that moment where she sees a psycho come out. Like, I'm mentally killing everybody at Chick-fil-A. And she goes, "It's okay.
Chick-fil-A?
They're pretty. It's pretty rare that Chick-fil-A fucks it up. I mean, it's usually like McDonald's or something, like, fucks like stuff up, and you want $15 an hour. I call Adam all the time, like, "Yo, they want $15 an hour. I've been at the drive-thru for 30 minutes." But
it's in New York City now. That's the minimum wage for everybody now.
Really? Well, New York.
You're down in Florida, so you're not staying up on that now.
Look, my day job is of highly skilled job, so that must mean that if I move to New York, I'll be making guap.
Maybe not,
and still be living in like a tiny house, like a tiny. My kitchen,
$1,300 a month for a broom closet, for a broom closet apartment in downtown New York.
Yeah, they said you need to make $220,000 to live comfortably in New York City.
God. I just
that hurts my stomach.
Yeah.
Hey, Brian, you want to tour my apartment? You want to see it again?
Yeah, we're done.
Yeah, here we go. There it is. You see everything. The closet doesn't have a door, so you can just like spin around. But yeah, like, think about that. I mean, I understand the concept of people are public figures that are actors, comedians, blah blah blah. But we're so connected now. We're so overly connected now, right? That you can't. It's such a ridiculous standard to think, hey, we are going to hold you accountable for every word that comes out of your mouth. And in addition to that, we're going to follow you around with cameras, microphones. We want you to consistently give us your thoughts. So if you have a moment of weakness, it's one thing to say, okay, this person is like a genuine, like a damn near serial killer or whatever. But if it's just like, hey, I just had this thought in February of 2011, I don't subscribe to the idea that should be the be all end all.
Even then, to a point, like, who's the person that's going that far back in anyone's account to like find that and then take something so out of context to blow it up to be like, you should lose your job because you said something 9 years ago, like off cuff. Like, what? Who's doing that? You know who does that? Psycho stalker ex-girlfriends. That's who does that. They're going through all your, like, this is back in the day, like all your MySpace page, like going like, who's in this photo? Who is that person in the background? Who commented on his page? Who's that? Like, that's my sister. What are you
12 years ago.
Yeah, like, what are you doing? Like,
I had a life before this.
yeah.
You realize.
This stuff happens pretty often, though. Like, you see it a lot with athletes, especially when people dig up, some guy's Twitter from when he was 16 or 13 or something like that, and now he's in the NBA, and they dig it up, and it's like, he was literally a child at the time, like.
Yeah.
All right.
Your criminal record can't come out after you turn 18. Like, why should your Twitter account?
Look, let me tell you something. I challenge any 16-year-old in the country to be put in a situation as like a LeBron James when he was 16, where, you're great at basketball and you're in the national spotlight, but when the buzzer hits for the end of the fourth quarter and you leave, the amount of females, the amount of and that's on one end, there's females, but the amount of everything, like, your life is temptation. Out off the court. I challenge anybody who's 16 to have enough of a head on their shoulders that they don't do something they're going to regret 20 years later when it matters.
Yeah.
There's 16-year-olds that try to get into that situation that don't have the skills to, like, pull that many females or sneak into the club that a LeBron would get into for free when he's 16. And to hold people accountable for that is outrageous. Like, it's absolutely fucking bonkers.
Yeah. On the other side of that, too, though, is that you got to be smarter. Like, if you're somebody who just got to the NBA or just became famous, you probably should just delete your social media and start over from that point. Because there's going to be something in there that people are going to dig up eventually.
Yeah.
So.
But to be fair, we're in such a connected age that, I mean, think about it. Think about where we were 20 years ago. And if we had the connections that we had now, your Twitter doesn't matter. Somebody took a picture of you, right?
Yeah.
So if I went to a club and I did A, B, or C, if I had a drunken tirade back then, 20 years ago, there was no iPhone where you go to a club now and you flip out. That's on YouTube tonight. Like, there's 50 people that pulled out their phones and are like, oh, there's the drunken asshole.
That's another thing you hear from athletes all the time, too, is saying, man, the older guys, you say, I'm glad none of this was around when I played because it would have been crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'm going to tell you this. Like, Dave Chappelle absolutely shuts down all phone usage during his shows, and I commend him for it. I know for him, he says that it's so that people don't, like, because comedians work on their, the material that you see on a 2-hour special on HBO or a 1-hour special on HBO has been worked through the circuit. Like, they don't just write it last night and then just give you that material. They go to the little clubs, and so.
Well, they try it out and they see what works, and then they're like, okay, so like this got a laugh, but if I tune it a little bit more, I think I could get a bigger laugh, or say this, or put this joke before this, or reference this joke like in this joke from before, so that stuff kind of like has connections, and then they're like, okay, this joke didn't work at all, I'm gonna toss this one, and then they keep it going,
But the side effect of that is that there are jokes that you can tell in New York that may not work in Texas, and vice versa. There are things there are subjects that you can just freely go into a comedy club in Florida and say, and just make fun of something, and people won't get outraged. And usually it's whatever's local to that place, right? Like if something terrible happened somewhere in Texas and some massacre happening, then a comedian's joking about it 2 nights later. For some people, that might be a release for them. Like, oh, I can laugh about this. Whereas if you did it, across the country, It's too soon.
Yeah.
Too soon. You don't know. So getting rid of that cell phone usage at a show eliminates that idea that somebody who wasn't in that room, doesn't know what just happened, does not have the context of where the joke came from, can't just go in after the fact, Monday morning quarterback it and say, everybody in there, they're just, all of these people that can afford to go out to a Dave Chappelle show and stay there till they don't have a voice enough to say whether it's too much or not. I need to speak up for them because they're all victims of this horrible joke that he told.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and then you wonder, like, maybe they don't know what victim means. Because, can you be a victim of a joke?
No, not really.
I don't think you can.
Maybe something that's personally directed at you,
Yeah.
But just a general joke. I mean, come on.
Even then, I'm a big dude, and if somebody makes fun of my weight, do it. There's some people, in a way, it's different strokes for different folks, right? Like, for me, I don't care if you make fun of me. Have at it. If it's funny, it's great. If it's not, I come from an era where if you didn't come with like good material, I'm gonna murder you for it. So I can dish it out. But some people can't, and it really is up to them to make that. That's part of growing up. That's part of being part of a society is learning to vocalize that. And you don't have to be forceful about it. Just, hey, that's not cool. And that's fine. And in most situations, that works. But it almost marginalizes the people that are victims of something, right?
Yeah.
By making everybody a victim. The house where we record, I like my house. I have a nice house. And when we were buying it, the realtor that sold us this house was... Or the realtor that was selling the house, not our realtor, but she was asking me what I thought about racism in my town because I'm Spanish, and I just laughed at her. I'm like, I don't care. Like, this is my third house. I don't give a fuck. Racism. You can't hurt my feelings. Like, I own property. I have a nice job. Like, get out of here, racism.
Yeah, I guess some people just, their feelings get hurt easily. Like you were saying, like somebody, makes fun of your weight, you just shake it off. Some people, it may hurt them a little bit, but at the end of the day, like, yeah, you're gonna be upset maybe for a few minutes about it, and then you go about your life. Like, it didn't change anything in your life,
if it hurts you, that's one thing. But it offends me when somebody wants to take up for me. Like, if I go to some of the places I used to hang out with and somebody goes, hey, big man, or hey, plátano, or whatever.
I don't know what that means.
Plantains. I'm Dominican. So, Dominicans eat, hey, where's your machete? Ha ha. If I didn't say anything, then, and especially if I'm laughing, if somebody comes, those are dumb, but like if somebody says something especially clever and I'm laughing, oh, you got me, ha ha ha. That's not a nervous laugh. I'm good. I do not need defending, and I think a majority of people that go through these types of things are in that same position where, hey, you don't need to speak up for those people, especially if it's a joke.
There's also such a big thing of right now where people are offended for the sake of being offended for whoever. Like, something happens and then they have to bring up like who that could be offending, and to an extent, like, yeah, like, you like be like a sympathetic person. Like, don't just go down, like, get down on people for how they are or how they look, or race, sex, orientation, whatever. It doesn't matter. But like, just to get upset because somebody said something which again, like we were talking 20 years ago would have been relatively innocent or understanding, like to have someone go off and have like an internet tirade of whatever just because they can, like it. What good are you doing by like just going off on somebody and just bringing all this attention to something that's not really even a thing? Like, did that person, like, did the person that you offended like get up and say, hey, stop doing that, and then the other person who made the offensive comment just keep going, and then now you're standing up with them, or are you just in there in the fight just to be in the fight? Like, are you just wanting your 15 minutes of like attention for whatever it is that you're doing? Like, it doesn't make any sense. Like, I think some of it is almost like a, hey, look at me and how angry I am, don't I care so much, as opposed to like any kind of like genuine outrage for anybody.
Redman just dropped a single. God bless him. I don't know if either of you have seen it. It's on YouTube, and it's called "Slap the Shit Out Ya."
Yeah,
and it's hilarious. I was laughing through it before this song started. I mean, and literally, it's gratuitous. He's just talking about how people go up to him and ask for stuff, and he's just slapping them. Like, that's the whole hook is him slapping people in the video. But before the song starts, there's a kind of tongue-in-cheek, kind of laughy, like, hey, this isn't promoting domestic violence. If you have domestic violence, that wouldn't have happened 20 years ago.
Oh, where you had to like clarify, like.
Now he does it in a jokey way.
Like, I don't, just P.S. Like, before this starts, I don't beat my wife, so we're not doing that. So just so you know.
Now he does it in a very jokey way, but 20 years ago, you don't have that disclaimer. You can say something like that and say, hey, don't do that because this is a jokey song. There's a part where he's like literally has his arms out just out, and he's just spinning around, and that's how he's smacking people. It's cartoonish. And the song itself is fucking awesome. But I'm sure there's somebody out there. Did you mean to slap the people that are coming up to you, your fans?
Yeah.
This is gonna date me, not me, but like my tastes and stuff. But like, wasn't there a show like To the Moon, Alice, and he shakes his fist at his wife?
Yeah,
like,
the Honeymooners.
Yeah,
that dates you just in the wrong way. I think you're actually the youngest person on this show right now. Ageism, cancel, end of a species. He made fun of him because he's young.
Yeah,
and I'm old and shit, so cancel the whole show.
I'm just well versed in Nick at Night. That's all.
Yeah,
that's all it was. And I don't even, is Nick at Night still a thing? Like, Nick at Night was a thing when I was growing up because like Friday nights I'd stay up late and I'd watch I Love Lucy and Honeymooners, Dick Van Dyke Show. I love the Dick Van Dyke Show. That is such a good show. But like Green Acres,
bro, All in the Family. Come on.
Yeah, well, any TV from before, like from like the 80s and before, wouldn't be able to be on TV today.
Yeah,
pretty much all those shows.
Yeah, it's gone. Oh, the Dick Van Dyke, I Love Lucy, where
Ricky Ricardo,
Desi comes home and
Desi Arnaz, yeah,
and did you clean the house today? Let that happen today.
Well, I remember an episode of that where he's talking about how like Lucy did something to mess up his show at the club or whatever, and then he starts saying something in Spanish, and then he makes this motion with his hands and he goes like he's breaking her neck. I'm like, and then she makes a face and I'm like, yeah, that sounds like he's gonna strangle her and twist her head off. Like, that sounds really bad.
Yeah, today that would trigger a Nancy Grace special. He killed his wife. She's still alive, but he killed her. He's terrible. Cancel Ricky Ricardo. Oh my God. I think the reason that I get so mad about it is that the expectation for people who are either in the public square,
any kind of public spotlight, yeah,
or are good at something, because there are people that get the same kind of treatment behind the scenes. The expectation nowadays is that you're perfect all the time. And for someone like me, I do not post a lot on social media, but that's just because I'm from a generation before social media. So for me, posting on social media is a foreign entity to me. Like, I'm used to, my birthday was just recently, and I'm used to receiving text messages or a phone call directly to me, as opposed to somebody who posts on a wall for everybody to see and says, happy birthday. Not that it's bad for them to do it, but I'm just not, that's just not the era that I came from.
If you post on Instagram, like, happy birthday, Jeff, but, like, Jeff never goes to check it, like, are you really telling Jeff happy birthday?
Well, that's exactly why I texted you yesterday, because
correct.
I figured that exact thing. You don't really go on Facebook, so
I do not, and so I'm shielded from it, because I can have all the ridiculous thoughts that I want, and the only person that hears it is either you guys or my wife, and it's mostly her, because I'm just in the living room saying some ridiculous, like, Archie Bunker would blush at the stuff that comes out of my mouth. But I'm not putting it on Twitter for somebody to say, you thought that about that horrible accident that happened? Like, yes, I did, but you didn't hear it. And so there's two things that happen. Number one is that this current generation just says too much out there. There's a reason why, I grew up where your family will say some ridiculous stuff within the house. And you have that old, don't take sides against the family. I knew it was you, Fredo. And that's the whole thing. I'm not going to go out and be like, hey, like little kids, mom said that you suck, or whatever it is. There's a reason that stays in the house. And so now with the social media era, all of that shit goes out. Like, it's out. Everybody can see it. All you have to do is click follow, and you see everything, all the crazy stuff that comes to somebody's mind. The other part of it...
Speaking of which, there's a person that I'm aware of that I've had interaction with, and I've talked with some of my work colleagues about him, and we call him Samurai Sean, because he's a dude who carries around a katana, but he's mentally unstable. But, like, he just carries it around, and, like, he's got throwing stars, and he's got a Facebook page where he talks about government nonsense and all this stuff, and we're like, oh, look, there goes...
Is he a... Hold on.
There goes Samurai. Excited. There goes Samurai Sean. He's from Georgia.
Hold on. Give me a moment here. Is he possibly a sovereign citizen? Is that what we're talking about? Would you define... Look, don't play with me, Adam. I'm being serious right now.
It's
because if he is he a... Just tell me straight.
It's very
or
possible.
Let me down, like, just rip it like a Band-Aid.
It's very possible, yeah.
Is Samurai Sean... Don't possible me, like, I just need a black or white. Is he a sovereign citizen?
Well, he talked to me the other day about how the government can't tell him who he is because he's
a sovereign citizen.
He identifies himself by himself, being identified as himself, and he identifies himself, and the government can't tell him how to identify himself through anything else.
Yes.
But then he's talking about how he wants to cash his government welfare check.
Yes.
Or whatever. And
if you can't see me right now, I'm like hopping around in the chair. I'm so happy.
He wants to cash his check, and we're like, you don't have an ID. We can't cash your check because we can't prove that this is you. I'm identifying myself as this. You can cash the check, and I'm like, no, that's not how that works. It's not. That's not a thing. Like, you just take your birth certificate and go get a new ID. That's all. Like, no, I identify myself as Sean, whatever his name is, and then he loses. Like, he's this, and we call him Samurai Sean, but he's this, like, redheaded white boy from Georgia with dreadlocks. Is the most bizarre thing, and he
racism. Cancel.
It's it's just weird to see him. Like, you know,
I'm gonna write a strongly worded letter.
It's the middle of July, and he has like a leather coat, like a leather duster, you know, and sandals.
Dear Susan something something from YouTube, I'd like to let you know that Adam from End of a Species said redheaded white boy. That offended me. I, of course, am from Trinidad and have nothing to do with redheads or white boys. But I am offended for all Irish people out there.
I don't know that he's Irish. So.
Well, Irish people are redheaded. Nationalism. I'd like to cancel the Trinidadian person that wrote that letter because they assumed that Samurai Sean was Irish. Do you see where this can go?
Yeah. But, like...
It's a vicious spiral. I'm going to drink some of my alkaline water. I'm just mad. Anyway, continue. Sorry.
Well, no, I interrupted you. So, like, my part's done. So, whatever you were saying.
Oh, we're tangenting here. This is a stream of consciousness about how we're mad that for saying some weird shit, your whole shit could get canceled.
Yeah.
And then that's it. I don't like it. I don't like it at all. Now, don't confuse that with, you know, college kids taking pictures of themselves doing something criminal and posting it on Facebook like a fucking idiot and then going, oh, I got fired? There's a big difference, and nuance is important and context is important. If I was somebody who posted on social media often and I said, you know, this news thing happened and I don't think it's that important, that's a lot different from somebody beating up a homeless person and taping it and then posting it on social media to have some laughs. Yeah. You know, you might go, oh, that was an earthquake that happened, and I'm like, earthquakes happen all the time. There's a conversation that I have with people where certain things that happen in the news, I don't put as much importance on, and then they, like, some people in my orbit will be like, well, how come? And I'll tell them that, look, and for all you listeners out there, I want you to know this. Anywhere in the country right now, within 10 miles of where you're standing, there's at least one woman currently putting the lotion in the basket. You can tell because if you go to a post office, there's a picture of somebody who's missing. And that's in your vicinity. That's in your town right now. There's a high likelihood of that. Depending on where your town is, it's probably more than one that's missing. And a lot of the news articles that I get sent to me have to do with something that's happening thousands of miles away. Focus on the woman putting the lotion in the basket. And that's something you can actually affect that. You can go door to door or whatever it is that you do to help find, you know,
Sally Jenkins, who's missing for the last 3 months. Yeah.
And that's across the country. I'm telling you, like, across the country. If you look it up, it's a thing. Like, it's an epidemic. I watch Investigation Discovery obsessively. This happens a lot. So
in your Facebook,
if I was to post about that,
YouTube, TV investigations.
Matter of fact, me saying this right now could potentially have somebody, oh, well, are you saying that it? No, I'm saying go find Susan Jenkins. Worry about that. That you can affect.
Susan Jenkins is not a person that we actually know. That's not a real person.
Names have been changed to protect the person who didn't come home last night. But again, it's me saying that on social media could be misconstrued, misinterpreted, or, you know, inferred to mean something else. And when all I'm saying is, if I see something on the news and it's happening a half a world away, you know, there's things.
It's more difficult to directly affect that. Like, there's a whole conversation that's out there. It was like, you need to feed the starving children in Africa, India, China, wherever. And I'm like, there's starving people in your town. Probably there's people that aren't eating right now.
Absolutely.
That didn't go to bed with a full stomach or didn't wake up or have anything to eat all day, and it's not because they're on a fasting, low carb, high protein diet or whatever.
Adam and I are in the southeast, and we are very, very close to a town that has a very, very high incidence of homelessness, and so go there.
Yeah, go hand out blankets and bagged lunches. Like there's a thing, there's an understanding that I have about helping homeless people, and it's just because I've seen it in different lights and talking to people about it and talking to them on their own, is that I always tell people, don't just hand them money, because they're gonna go buy alcohol and cigarettes or worse with it. Like, that's the
anti-homeless person.
If you I always if I've got leftovers from eating out or whatever, and I see a person that's anything helps, whatever, I'll give you my white box from where Chili's or wherever I ate or whatever. You can have the food. I'll give you the food, but I'm not just gonna hand you cash, because that could go anywhere. And you'd be surprised. There's also the thing, you'd be surprised at the amount of people that sit on a corner and hold a sign that have jobs, have money, have a car that they drove to that corner in. They parked it across the street in the mall parking lot, and they're just hanging out there because it's hey, yeah, I could sit here for 4 hours and make $130, by doing nothing, So people just hand them cash, but you hand them a sandwich, you feel like you've done something that's more directly helping them than giving them the means to just abuse their habit.
Now, here's a solution for anybody who's offended by what Adam just said and wants to cancel stuff, right? There's a very easy solution, whether it's us, Dave Chappelle, Kevin Hart, or anything. It's really easy, right? Let's say, for example, I'm a hip hop head, not a fan of certain artists, whether it's because I don't like what they say or I just don't think they're good. I don't write a letter. I don't let them live rent free in my head. I just don't play their shit.
If you're not supporting their album, it's less likely that they're going to make another one, because they're wow, I put all this time and effort and I didn't make any money. Maybe I suck.
And you know what the best part is? If they have 1,000, I don't listen to country music, but the CMA awards happen every year, like clockwork. I know they exist. I know there's a lot of people that do. Yeah. I don't have to change that. Go ahead, listen to your music, whatever you want to listen to. Whether it exists or not, I don't have to do anything with it. So if you have, for example, a show that I can't believe they talk about that so blatant, so flippantly, just don't listen to it. Don't listen to it. It's fine. It's not, I guarantee you, it's doing less damage than a lot of the stuff within a 10, 15, 20 mile radius of your house that you could be going to go fix.
Volunteer at your local homeless coalition or whatever.
But you won't do that, and you know why? Because it's something you have. It's so easy. It's so easy to go on Twitter and I don't like blah blah blah.
You can do that while you're sitting on the toilet.
Yeah, you can do that so easily, and you're not really doing anything, right? So
there's no consequence either, if you're not a famous person anyway.
Until I get my PI squad out there, and I'm gonna randomly you know what? I'm thinking of the end of Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back, where they go and find all the fucking people who wrote bad shit about the movie, and they just knock on their door and beat them up. But me, it's worse. It's psychological. I'm gonna, oh, did you yell at that McDonald's person for not putting cheese on your thing and putting pickles when you said no pickles, and you yelled? Did you curse when you yelled? You know that person's poor, right? Oh, sorry, you're gonna have to get fired. I'm posting this on social media tonight. Sorry. Oh, yeah, you know how you wrote some stuff about whatever athlete and they had to apologize or whatever for some nothing that they did? Well, the nothing that you did, you know.
Now you lose your job and livelihood. Surprise. See how that affects you.
Just keep that same standard going.
Yeah. Do you think maybe they're like some of it is upset because it's like jealousy? Like, how can they make that joke and they're making millions of dollars, and like I can make that joke at work and then like I got written up? Yeah, it was inappropriate, Steve. You're not allowed to make that joke at the water cooler. But it's the same one Kevin Hart did. I don't care what Kevin Hart did. Kevin Hart had people pay him to walk into a room with him so he could say that joke. We're all here to make our money. We don't need to hear your racist, homophobic, anti whatever joke. Like, get back to your cubicle.
There's also an art to telling a joke, right? Like, you can tell a joke that seems offensive, and if you know how to do it, if you're a professional comedian, for example, you probably know how to tell the joke without, like, I'm sure that there are people that go to a comedy show and then they go to work and they butcher it. And they go,
I'm sure
the Indians have red skin. That wasn't the punchline.
And everyone's shoulders just go up and they're like, ooh.
I don't know if it's jealousy. I don't think that it's jealousy. I'd like to think it isn't.
It might not be the primary motive, but like it could incentivize too. Like just like,
I mean, there is some hatred. I mean, there, but I think a lot. They say idle hands are the devil's playground. I think it's you don't have anything better to do. I don't want to think that people who have their faculties intact and have critical thinking ability will honestly say that a joke made... I was about to say Louis C.K., but I don't think that is he acceptable yet?
I don't think so. I don't think so.
He's not a...
I haven't heard anything new from him in, jeez,
I've
year?
Lately, maybe? I've been watching comedian Andrew Schultz. He's actually going to be near me soon, and I'm going to try to get to watch him. And his sets can be a little, on the line for some people. I love it. I think he's hilarious. But like, okay, Daniel Tosh. He's one that has had some ridiculous shit come out of his mouth.
But he said some ridiculous shit about a lot of stuff.
Yeah, but if you really think that him doing a set, or we'll go further, a rapper like Kendrick, Eminem, somebody like, they said some cartoonish whatever, right? If you really, I can't imagine that people, like if you sit down, you're seriously with a straight face telling me, yeah, that's contributing to the whatever it is because they said the thing that they said. Even further, I'll give you a little bit on athletes because I'm from New York, and I remember going to Yankee games and then going to bars that players from the Yankees hung out at afterwards. Now, at the time, I was already grown enough to go to bars, so if I saw somebody doing something stupid at a bar, it's not like, oh, I want to do that. But I can see how some people can say, okay, you look up to Kevin Garnett, you look up to Eli Manning or whatever, and if they do some dumb stuff, or like I saw them smoke weed, so now I want to smoke weed. I'll grant you that.
Oh, like the swimmer. That was a big thing, right? They took his gold medal away.
Oh, they did, didn't they?
The Olympics. What was his name? Whatever. So yeah, he got caught smoking weed and he lost all of his endorsements, and I think they took some gold medals away and so on and so forth. So
Yeah, Michael Phelps.
Phelps. Yeah. So I don't know for sure, but like he got chastised. I know he lost a lot of endorsements, and like, you know, that's money in his pocket. And it's like, look, he just went and won like 311 gold medals for swimming. Like, if he wants to smoke some weed, go ahead. Like, it's obviously not, you know, a performance enhancer. Like, who?
Yeah,
Like,
I don't see weed as something that makes you swim better either.
Yeah.
No.
So maybe it helps him learn how to hold his breath or something.
Nope.
Yeah, I don't know.
Nope.
It's just one of those things that
if
people
you
want to
are
be mad
somebody
about.
who's been around a lot of weed smokers, you know that they do not have the greatest lung capacity all of a sudden. Like, especially
Right.
ones that really smoke, it's run a half a block with them and you like, but I get it. I get it that if you're in a certain position, you know, I'll semi concede the argument that you're a role model to certain people.
Yeah, people look up to you for certain things, you know.
But that's where parents come in. And parents, I mean, parenting is not an easy job, but that's why it's a job. Like, it's something your responsibility. So there's a bunch of crazy people out there that do all sorts of stuff. If it's almost like a hydra. So if you're instead of chasing the upbringing of your child, you're chasing all the stuff around them, you're going to be chasing for a long time, because there's a lot of people out there that do all manner of weird stuff. And if you get rid of one, especially in Hollywood or in any genre that's in the public square, there are going to be 5 more after that are going to, and it's only going to get worse, right? People used to make fun of Justin Bieber for being a jerk, and now I don't know their names, but there's like 500 of him doing weird shit out there. So,
well, what was the kid? I mean, this was like kind of like a justified kind of an outrage. But what was the kid that he has a show on Disney? But he also had a YouTube show where he was just basically just being an asshole. And then he went to Japan and then filmed a dead body.
Oh, yeah, the suicide forest thing.
Yeah, and he like filmed the dead body, and they like I don't remember if they were poking it, but like he's wearing like a silly hat and like making jokes and whatever.
I
and
forget
like,
the dude's name. It's like it's one of those that just.
But he's one. Like, I consider him the same kind of thing, because like 6 months later he's like making an apology and like, oh, I'm very sorry, please continue to give me money, and then he sets up a boxing match with another YouTuber or whatever.
Just so you know, and I'm just gonna riff off of that, and that's coming. All of you people out there that are like crowdfunded
Hipster douchebag.
I sit in my living room and talk into a camera, people, and I ask for money. You're in my crosshairs. I don't have time today to skewer you. But it's coming. That is coming. Just rest easy today. You dodged it, because time is, you know, a fixed construct, and it only goes one way so far. But that goes for anybody streaming, YouTubing, and there's no such thing as, like, there's big ones too that, oh, my show, if you want it to continue, send $5. No, fuck you. But that's coming.
Go get your job at McDonald's, making $15 an hour.
Like, see what we're doing right now? We're sitting around talking like some assholes. You're never going to see me be like, yo, send me $5 so I could talk some more like an asshole. This is an afternoon that we had off, and we're doing this as a hobby. If I make $1 trillion doing it, I'm happy. If I make 10 cents doing it, or nothing, I mean, right now I'm in the red. Right? I had to buy this microphone. This shit, they didn't give this to me for free. But I'm never going to be like, hey, give me money so I can talk to you about whatever. This is just me having fun.
Yeah, which is what it should be. Like, we shouldn't be like. That's originally where it started. It was to have fun and be helpful, and now it's turned into like, look, I'm an asshole with an opinion too. Please send me $3,000 this month so I can like pay my rent.
You know, it also that also goes into this whole the cancel culture thing, because you have these channels that are dedicated to thinking, oh, look at all the misogynists, or look at all this stuff that's racist, and blah 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 blah. I'm gonna say something crazy right now, and it's okay if somebody goes on YouTube and says that they themselves have racist views or misogynist views. Maybe I'm not gonna hang out with them, but we have freedom of speech, so
you're entitled to opinion no matter what.
As long as you don't cross the plane, break the plane of my lawn, like wherever my property is. You have the 5 feet easement or 10 feet. I don't know how much it is, but whatever the easement is, where the utility company can touch, you can walk on that all day. But if you break the plane, and I don't want you there, that's a whole different story. But if you want to go on a YouTube channel and say some dumb shit, I'm not going to watch it. Fine, do your thing. As long as YouTube is okay with it on there, I'm not going to hold YouTube accountable for what you just said. However, all these people that are, oh, blah, 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 misogynist, send me money, because that's, again, you're defending people that don't need to be defended, that probably don't want to be defended. They don't know about the thing that just happened because they are like normal people and they just avoided the shit. Like, oh, this person's talking about how women suck, or how guys suck, or how Spanish people suck. Guess what? You hit the little 3 buttons.
You have a choice in your viewing material, and we appreciate you for watching End of a Species.
Word. Yeah, watch us, because this is the only right opinion on the internet. But you could just hit the thing and then it says not interested, and
there's a thumbs up and thumbs down. We appreciate thumbs up, but thumbs down some stuff. That's fine.
Yeah.
Or we appreciate the thumbs down too. Thank you for letting us know that we need to improve or whatever. We don't encourage it, we encourage positive.
Yeah, keep that shit to yourself.
Positivity, But
But everybody needs a cause today. I don't have a cause. My cause is the fact that I have so much ice cream cake in my house and only one mouth. Just one. And I'm not planning on eating all of it. I'm hoping that more people come to my house to, not you guys that are listening, because I don't know y'all, but more people come to my house that are loved ones to partake of. It's at the end of Thanksgiving, I always get a huge ass turkey, and every time I do it, right, my wife goes, oh, last year we had so much fucking turkey. I'm like, yeah, but I don't want to have less turkey than I need. And then when dinner's over, you look at the turkey and you're like, we barely put a dent in that motherfucker. And you look at everybody that came over, you guys are taking turkey, right?
Yeah, turkey, stuffing, mashed potatoes, corn.
Take a bag full of shit, yo.
Mac and cheese. Yeah, we got Ziplocs.
And you get, for Christmas, we did the spiral ham. I'm talking a lot about food. But those are the things, see, that's the thing. Worry about that. We just had the holidays, right? So worry about that. Love ones around you and the time you spend. Not so much this person said some shit that should have offended somebody but didn't. It doesn't offend me, but I'm gonna talk shit about it.
Yeah.
Drinking some more of my alkaline water.
Yeah. What's important is family and time and goals and the betterment and furtherment of mankind.
Critical thinking, nuance.
Which, as we've described in our channel, is coming to a close. This is the end times for humankind. Something's going to replace us soon enough.
Yeah, so. There's no way. Look, I'm going to tell you this. This is the concept here. If you go into the jungle, everybody's gone. Anybody who's been schooled on biology and whatever, they've seen where, the slow gazelle, that one gets eaten by the lion. And the fast gazelles, those are the ones that are, and don't misinterpret what I'm saying. Our slow gazelles do not get eaten.
Yeah.
And that is a recipe for disaster. I'm not saying here that we should find anybody who's not up to snuff, and I mean, there's no solution for it. That's just what it is. It's the reality.
Just take the warning labels off of a few things, and then see where that goes.
But you see, here's and see, that's the trap. That's the trap that because the reality is what it is, right? Everybody in humanity, like humanity, won the game of life. We beat the high score, but the consequence to that is that everybody gets through, right? There's no solution to
We've
that.
now written the Game Informer guide to get through to make it to the end of the game.
Yeah,
where it's like, oh yeah, here you go.
So
you deserve to live too.
There's not really, the reason I say there's not really a solution is because nobody's going to reasonably say, oh, let's start killing people. That's stupid, right? But because we're in this state, it's only a matter of time before the wrong person, because nobody wants to offend nobody, the wrong person gets in front of the switch that hits that has a second Chernobyl happen.
Yeah.
Like, think about it. And if you say something, you don't want that person to do the thing, you're anti whatever that person is, and I mean, it's scary. However, cancel culture sucks. Don't support it. If you see somebody that's saying, hey, that person should be canceled for whatever reason, they're human also. You're much better off either tuning to a different channel or providing them with feedback so that they can improve.
Or just taking what they said or wrote or did whatever with in context of what it's for. Not necessarily that they're hating on anybody or that they're doing something hateful. But like sometimes, everyone's got an id, and like maybe, their dark things come out randomly in their, Twitter feed or whatever. Like therapy for comedians is doing their stand up. They go to their own therapy by like just venting on stage, and they just do it in a humorous way. Maybe that's what they're doing. They're just venting and saying these dark things that are in their head to just get them out so that they don't act on them later. Maybe that's just their form of handling their own business. And that's not necessarily a bad thing.
Yeah, definitely.
Does anybody have any like, I know I did a lot of venting, and
it's okay to vent.
Overall pretty spicy about this topic. Hater culture is another one that we're going to hit on, but and I get angry at that as well. Yeah. But does anybody have anything to add before we close out? Let's do a quick
census.
Yeah.
No, I think the last thing I said was probably my last necessary thought. Brian?
No, I think we covered it pretty well.
This might be the first, and it's just because I'm mad. So this is going to be the first episode where we do it twice. Fuck GameStop. That does need to get canceled. I think GameStop does need to get canceled. We'll have an episode at one point where I'll explain the
hatred of GameStop,
long-standing hatred of GameStop. But
they're probably on the way out. Yeah, I just saw that they're probably laying off or closing a bunch of stores again, so they're probably on the way out.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. They were part of the Think Geek website or whatever, and then they merged that into their GameStop website, and now it's all kind of a thing. And then now they're shutting those stores down and some other stuff. Like it's complicated or whatever. Like
everybody's buying games on, everything's digital downloads now. So
yeah. Bring back Funko Land. Let's do that. On that note, so this was this episode of Cancel Culture for the End of a Species podcast. If you enjoyed what you heard, give us a like, subscribe, all that other good stuff.
Like and subscribe.
I still don't know what any of that means because I'm an old fuck. that just
like
talking.
is the thumbs up, and then subscribe means they get told when we post.
There's a bell icon too.
And then
Everybody tells me about a bell
There's
icon.
a bell icon so that they get a notification when we post.
Yeah, word. You want to know all the steps that I take and the 2 social media posts I make a year. One to say, how do I use this? And the other one, I don't remember how to use this.
And they're just random things where your selfie camera was on and it took like some weird like off-centered picture of yourself or your foot or something, and then that somehow gets posted.
For me, most likely it's like a ceiling fan, a still shot. Like I don't know if it's running or not.
Some random like TV stand with a light socket.
Yeah.
Nonsense.
Well,
on social media, you can find me at Tatooine Hermit on Instagram, and that's about the only place I've got anything. So.
Bro, I can't stress this enough. I keep saying this to people, and they think I'm fucking around. If they don't know how to spell Tatooine, they don't deserve to talk to you. That's like some people spell it like it's a tattoo. It's not a tattoo. Brian, you want to give your socials?
Well, I don't have Twitter right now. I probably should make one for this use, but I'm not using it right now.
All right, so everybody be on notice. If Brian doesn't have a Twitter by the next episode, we're canceling Brian. Hashtag cancel Brian. End of a species. My Twitter is Zeus and Jeff, but if you go there, I mean, you could follow me because it just gives me an ego boost when a lot of people follow me. But I don't post on there. I just use it to like read shit, which is cool. And I think End of a Species, we'll give the End of a Species socials next time, because End of a Species does have a Twitter and Instagram. We just haven't started rocking out on it yet.
We should post something tonight on it. Just like a picture of like the, like a screenshot from the desktop or something. Like just something like get prepared for our next week's episodes coming out, and then that's it. That's it.
I'm thinking I should post a picture of this damn near empty bottle of alkaline water.
So that people know what you're talking about.
It's the one hipster thing that I do.
Is it the one hipster thing?
Yeah, my diet is horrendous. My diet is from 1983. Like, I still do, like, if I could find it, I'd still do Nestle Quick, the pink one. Like, all of my shit is old school. But alkaline water, my wife likes it. I drink it. I'm like, oh, I like this.
Does it taste like water?
It tastes like water.
Oh, yeah. So drink more water.
Just like, I think, $1 more than... But we will see you on the next episode, and somebody say something witty to close us out. Anybody. Or I will. Bazooka Joe.
Bye.
Peace.